back from my second trip to Germany, and there are going to be a lot of vlogs that are going to show you guys what my experiences were like and some very different culture shocks this time that I had versus the first time. And that's actually what this video is going to be about. Culture shocks that I didn't understand before that finally make sense to me. We're going to go through a list of them and kind of break down how I found the culture shocks that I experienced to make a lot more sense. And I actually have a list right here on my iPad, and I'm going to kind of read them off and talk about them a little bit. So if you guys can, just go ahead and drop a like on this video, subscribe, all that good stuff. I was very, very shocked this time around for sure. And I got a very sharp dose of German culture that I didn't get before for several reasons. One of them is because I decided to venture out and explore outside of Cologne, or Köln. I explored outside of Köln Köln. I can't pronounce it right, and I've been practicing for a while. Point being, there's some points I wanted to talk about. Number one, and we're gonna get right into it, and some of these might make you guys a little upset. Maybe some of you guys might agree with what I have to say. I have to preface this when I make videos like this because they are, at the end of the day, my opinions, and they're not factual or non-factual. These are just how I feel about the things I experienced. First and foremost, let me start off by saying Cologne or Köln, it's a city, right? And it's a very accepting city. So a lot of things that I was worried about going to Germany, I didn't have to worry about when I went to Köln. Right? For instance, filming. I didn't have to worry about filming. I had no issue. I was expecting people to freak out or yell at me for pulling my camera out, or even when I live streamed, I expect for people to like rip my phone from my hand and toss it to the side and yell obscenities at me. I mean, I've seen some meme compilations from Germany where the people in the background were so infuriated, they would like yell at the streamer or yell at the YouTuber for filming. So I expected that coming to Germany, and I didn't get that. So that's one of the things. And then of course, a lot of people don't really have the traditional, German behavioral things that people talk about in culture shock videos. When you hear expats talk about German behaviors and stuff like that when they go to Germany for the first time, what you'll experience in Köln is not exactly what you'll experience everywhere else. Some things, but not most of those things. For instance, crossing the street and just certain etiquettes and whatnot, noise levels and all that other good stuff, that's not really gonna apply to a big city like Köln. Because once again, it's a big city, and Cologne is known for being the most accepting place in Germany, from what I've been told. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments down below. So, the very first culture shock for me that made sense, the Deutsche Bahn. I have so many words for the Deutsche Bahn. I'm gonna try to keep it brief because I wanna move on to these other points, but let's talk about that really quick. The first time I hopped on the Deutsche Bahn was my first time in Germany earlier this year, and it was really cool. The car was quiet, people were super nice, and it was a very amazing experience. And it was an amazing experience this time, being able to ride the Deutsche Bahn. Now, one thing that I got from my subscribers, from a lot of you guys watching this, were complaints about how the Deutsche Bahn was not punctual. It wasn't on time. It became very aggravating. It really started to conflict with people's schedules, and I'm like, dude, it's not that big of a deal. Trains are late. That just happens. And now I understand why you guys told me that, okay? Not on one occasion, or two, or three, or four, or five. It was more like 9, 10, maybe 12, maybe 14 times that the Deutsche Bahn either was extremely late or just didn't show up at all. It was crazy. So I had to really finesse and finagle my schedule around the Deutsche Bahn. That is the dark side of that thing. Now, I told you guys, the Deutsche Bahn got a mind of its own. Like when it shows up, it shows up. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's always construction issues or hardware issues on the actual train itself, or some kind of delay for some mysterious reason. It's incredibly insane and very aggravating. And at first I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, I get exactly why people were telling me the Deutsche Bahn it'll put you in a particular mood. Because it wasn't just me that was upset. Of course, the locals were very upset in all of those situations that I was in. So just to say, I had a bone to pick with that train company just because it's not reliable if you're trying to get somewhere on time. It's not reliable. I'd say you'll get to work on time or to a location that you plan to be on time maybe 40% of the time. 60% of the time, the train is gonna be extra late. So my advice to people taking the Deutsche Bahn, go to that motherfucker an hour early or 2 hours early. You might be able to catch a train that will fit or be late enough to actually fit into your schedule. Okay, so anyways, that was my first thing I had to acknowledge that made sense. I didn't understand what you guys were telling me before with why you had so many frustrations with the Deutsche Bahn until I fully experienced it for myself this time. And I was upset. I had a lot of places to be, a lot of things to film and stuff like that, and just things to take part in and whatnot. And I also didn't want to waste other people's time because I was on other people's time, honestly, when I was in Germany. And a lot of the time when I was late, it was because of the Deutsche Bahn. So all I have to say is thank you, Deutsche Bahn. The next point is bikers. I didn't understand why the bikers in Germany were so angry. I talked about it. I'm like, dude, like, why are bikers so aggressive? Like, there'll be one person walking in the bike lane and they freak out. Well, on this particular trip, as you'll see in several vlogs that are coming out very soon, I got to ride bikes in Germany quite often. And it was, first of all, beautiful experience until we got to, like, you know, very populated areas where people decided to walk in the bike lane. Now, I'm not the best biker, I will admit, but I can stay within the lines, right? The problem is I can't swerve out of the way fast enough. So if you're in the bike lane, both of us finna get injured, okay? It's no bueno for both of us. So please, stay the fuck out of the bike lane. Stay out of the bike lane, please, please. If you're a tourist traveling to Germany, or if you're in Germany and you just, you know, happen to walk in bike lanes because you feel like it, please don't. Especially if I'm in the bike lanes, because we're both gonna collide into each other and it's not gonna be beautiful. Okay, it's crazy, it's stressful. I was never more stressed than when I was biking in the city of Germany and people were in the bike lane. People that were walking in the bike lane that shouldn't have been in the bike lane were in the bike lane. And it made me frustrated. I'm like, oh my God. It was crazy. So yeah, that's another thing. Makes sense now. I didn't understand why bikers were so mad, but I understand. Now, the next point I'm going to bring up is actually something that all of you will agree, but I got to understand on the most, like, I don't know, finite level of how thorough this particular point is about to be. And it is the quality of the German food. All of it is delicious, right? I'll give you a simple example and then we'll move. I went to McDonald's for the first time in Germany, right? And I didn't do that the last time because I'm like, bro, it's McDonald's. Like, what's, you know, whatever. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting it to taste like all the other McDonald's and stuff. And for the most part, I thought it was, I mean, I was expecting it to, but the thing is, it still tasted fresh, even though, like, you know, some of the stuff McDonald's gives, like countries and whatnot, is like their product, whatever. All of the items in Germany that I had, including in this McDonald's in Germany, was fresh. The bacon, fresh. The eggs, fresh. The bread, fresh. They had a little cute bakery in the McDonald's that I got to see, and that was awesome. You're gonna see that video coming out sometime soon. It was very cool. I went to a breakfast place in Germany when I filmed a bakery video that I promised you guys. That bakery video is also going to be out very soon as well. And the breakfast was just so fresh. The smoked salmon didn't feel like I was eating chemical fish. And then the bacon, I've never in my life seen garnish on bacon. Like those little leaves, bro, they put these little leaves on my bacon and I'm like, oh my God. And the bacon tasted like God crafted it, okay? It was delicious. That was the best bacon I've had in my entire life. Also, I know I said I would keep it short, but let me add in one more thing. I'm not sure if you guys saw the video that I made on my channel where I attempted to make schnitzel and speak German in one vlog. Yeah, the schnitzel didn't come out great and my German was trash, okay? This time around, I had a professional German chef teach me, an American, how to make schnitzel from scratch. And we went to a butcher and got like this beautiful slice of pork, right? This beautiful like mound of pork, and we cut it into slices and did the whole shebang, and it was very delicious. The final product was very delicious. I can't wait to show you that video, but all to say, the ingredients were fresh. Nothing felt artificial or anything or processed, and I loved the country 1,000 times more for that. I loved it the first time I was in Germany and ate food, but I ate way more food this time, arguably, than I did the first time, and it really, like, my body loved it. There was not a singular thing that my body ingested where my stomach wanted to do a backflip. Like, nothing that I ate had my body questioning itself. In every other country I've been to, my stomach does a backflip, some way, shape, or form, but not in Germany. The food's good. Next point, the clubs don't close early. And that was a culture shock. As you know, your boy went to Gamescom, which means your boy also got invited to some parties. I partied my ass off, not gonna lie, I partied my ass off. Now, I'm gonna make a side note, a little statement for some people that I saw making comments on some other YouTubers' videos that I happen to be in, either in the background or as maybe a feature in their videos. People are saying that when I laugh, right, my mouth moves and I smile, but my face is stale. I partied so much, I went out and filmed so much content and stuff like that, I was exhausted. So I was thoroughly enjoying every moment, but my body was so exhausted that everything from here up was like this, and then my mouth was like, ha 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 ha. You know what I mean? Because I was trying to really be in the moment, but I was also exhausted at the same time. That makes sense. Anyways, I digress. The clubs don't close early. We went to this one place and it closed at like 5, 6 in the morning, bro. I went to House for the first time in Cologne, and that was the most intense club I've ever been to in my life. Then I went to Experion, which is obviously not a club, but it was a place to party. They shut it down and invited a bunch of creators over there, and it was really dope. They had a dance floor downstairs and stuff, a nice little DJ, a lot of cool drinky drinks, and it was a great time. Had a blast. I just did not expect the clubs to close after 2 a.m. Now, Korea, a lot of the clubs stay open until like 9 a.m. So I'm like, oh, cool. That must be one of the only countries in the world that has clubs that close after 2 a.m. Nope, I was wrong. Culture shock. Germany, their clubs close pretty late too. And the people party way harder. Oh my God, the people party way harder. People in Korea party hard and stuff like that. But I finally got to experience a weekend in Germany. And that's gonna be my next point. The weekends in Germany, bro, are crazy. Now, people during the week, they work. They obviously work, they do their thing. It's very hunky-dory. It's not too crowded, especially in a city like Cologne. It's not too crowded during the day, obviously, because people have things to do, school or work or whatever. During the weekend, this was my first time experiencing a weekend in Germany. People were turning the freak up. They were partying, they were going crazy, and I loved it, bro. Like, I feel like Germans actually party harder than Americans. I had a lot of people ask me like, hey, yo, like, you've been to a lot of American parties. How hard do you think Germans party? I'm like, bro, y'all taught me how to drink in like 15, 20 different ways, bro. I'd have never handled kegs, beer, liquor. I've never handled any of that the way y'all showed me to handle that when I got to Germany this time. Y'all made sure I had a good time. And it was insane. So, had a blast, loved it, absolutely loved it. Okay, here's the next one. Ordering water from restaurants. Now, the last time I was in Germany, I realized I didn't really have to do too much talking because there was always somebody next to me and they would immediately order something and then I would just kind of follow suit. This time, I was pretty much in the driver's seat. Every single situation I was in, I put myself in a situation to try to order the food myself. And two things I had to learn how to say because I kept forgetting them. Ich hätte gerne, which is, can I please have blah blah blah, and then also wir würden gerne zahlen, right? Wir würden gerne zahlen, which is like we would like the check. Bitte. Okay, so I had to learn how to say those things obviously when I was looking for the check, but for water, we're talking about water now. Every time I asked for a water, ich hätte gerne Wasser bitte, they'll give you a kleine Wasser, like the little water, little klein. It's about the size of It's about the size of this. It's like tiny. It's like this big, and they give you a little shot glass, pour your little water in your little shot. I'm like, listen, y'all, I'm almost 5 meters, bro. I'm almost 2 meters tall. I'm 1 meter, like 2,90. So I got like 8 centimeters to get there. But you get me, I'm a big dude. That little glass of water isn't gonna do anything for me. So I just thought that like I had to keep ordering small bottles of water, and I kept doing that. I'm like, Entschuldigung, ich hätte gerne ein mehr Wasser bitte. And the lady would be like, oh yeah, sure. And gave me like a tiny little water. Then people at my table were like, bro, like you could just ask for like a big water or a groß Wasser. And I'm like, oh, I can do that. Ich hätte gerne ein groß Wasser bitte. But there's a way to ask for like a 1 liter water. Can you just say ein Liter Wasser bitte? Like kann ich ein Wasser Liter haben? But I wouldn't say that because they're like, can you have a 1 liter liter water bottle, sir. Ich hätte gerne ein Großwasser bitte. And then they'll bring you a big water bottle like this, you know, and then a big ass beer mug. And then you're like, there you go. That's what you want to say. Ein Großwasser. Großwasser. I became very acquainted with that term. Now let me tell you about the wir würden gerne zahlen, right? Let me tell you about that. So I was eating at a restaurant with my friends, and we had finished our food. It had been like 20 minutes since we finished our food, and I'm trying to look for a waiter or a waitress so we can get the check. And I'm looking around, and I was kind of like, you know, nervous because A, it was hard to get their attention, and B, I also wanted to, you know, get their attention in German, but I was really nervous with my Deutsch because it's not the best, right? So I'm like, Entschuldigung, and they're like, yes. Now everybody at my table told me to say, wir werden gerne zahlen, right? And they said it really fast. So I said it really fast to them, like, Entschuldigung, wir werden gerne zahlen bitte. And they literally like, oh, okay, the zahlen? Yeah, got you. And they gave me the check, and I'm like, huh? The way I said it, I thought I was speaking gibberish. I'm like, and they're like, oh. They gave me the fucking check, and I'm like, dude, I feel like I just cracked Da Vinci's code. I finally figured out how to receive my bill at a restaurant. That was a victorious moment for me. So loved it, absolutely loved it. All right, last but not least, right? I'm gonna keep this one real short. Filming laws in Germany. Now, I told you in the beginning of this video, Cologne is a very accepting place when it comes to a lot of things, you know, a lot of social things and YouTuber-isms, right? Filming, live streaming. When I went to Essen, I went to Wuppertal, I went to Düsseldorf. Düsseldorf, people were way more cool with me filming there.
This is one of the nicest train stations. Yeah, no?
It's not allowed.
Not allowed?
Yeah, make it off.
Oh, okay.
But in Essen, Mönchengladbach, and Wuppertal, people were giving me some looks, and I actually got approached in Essen.
So basically, bro, we had like a little bit of an issue already. I was waiting for this to happen, right? We basically got yelled at for filming. This guy, a taxi driver, walked up to us and he's like, do you have a permit to film? He's saying this all in German, obviously. And of course I didn't have the right words to say, so I'm like dead silent. And like Fabi over here, he's like, you don't need a permit, bro. Like you weren't the main subject of the video. And dude was just going crazy on us, man. He's like, you need a permit. He kept going like this, permit, dude, where's your permit? Where's your permit? And I'm like, oh man, bro, this is about to be an interesting day.
And then with the last little thing I'll say with the filming, right? Shout out to Jan. Jan, if you're watching this, thank you so much. He got us a filming permit in a bakery, so we were able to film inside the breakfast portion of the bakery, and we were able to film inside of the actual bakery itself. So when we do drop these vlogs, you guys are gonna absolutely love them. Please support them. We worked really hard and everything, and I had a very good time. I'm coming back in November to Hamburg, so there'll be a whole little series of videos on that. But when I do start dropping these vlogs, it's gonna be crazy. Let me know if you guys see where I'm coming from with these culture shocks that make sense to me. I'll throw in one bonus, right? A German Fußballspiel. You guys are probably gonna ask me, did I ever go to one during this trip? And the answer is... I'll see you soon.